Hello, my stamping friends. It's Erica here from Me2U Paper Crafts. I'm a Canadian Stampin' Up! Demonstrator here on the west coast of Canada. And I have this lovely tuck fold card. And it's called a tuck fold because it just tucks underneath this little triangle. Now, a couple of demonstrators, have already made this. I believe Connie Stewart made one, and I saw this actually from Linda Bedinger. She had made this card up recently, and that's where I saw it from. But a number of demonstrators have already made this card, so I don't really know who the originator is, but I just really fell in love with it. I thought it was quite unique. So I'm going to show you how to make one, but I wanted to point out this one was made using the Forever Greenery suite, which is on page 108 of the annual catalog. And when I saw this suite, I fell in love with it because it's green, which is my favorite color. So we have a number of suites in the catalog. I think we have over 10 suites in the catalog. And I love suites because I'm what I call an avid crafter. I don't do very much simple stamping, although it's a beautiful and simple and fast and easy way to create a card. But I tend to embellish more. And so I love the suites because there's a lot of elements that coordinate with the inks and the cardstock and the designer series paper. And so that you can make some really beautiful cards with a lot of different embellishments on them. This is a stamp set called Forever Fern. These are called distinctive stamps because when you stamp them, they have a lot of dimension and texture to them because of the way they're cut. And these are actually done by Stampin' Up! They do a beautiful job with distinctive stamps. And yeah, so I just used the papers in here. I didn't embellish this card too much because there's a lot going on with the designer series paper. I just simply mounted a greeting here. And this greeting is using a new stamp set and actually a new punch called the Lovely Labels Pick-a-Punch. So you have the ability to make two different types of, well, they're called, I guess, tag toppers because there's two different sort of designs for your label. And you can use 1/2 inch, 3/4 of an inch, up to 1 inch in width. So there's 3 tracks on here to create your label. So you've got a lot of layering possibilities with this punch. And it came coordinated or bundled with this Lovely You stamp set. There's some beautiful mixed font greetings in here. And I've already done my label. Love is what makes us family. And this is what I'm going to put on this new card. And I wanted it really simple because the DSP is quite busy. So I didn't feel I needed very many layers for that. And so this is how I always decorate an envelope. So I just did that like that. And it matches the inside of the card. Okay. So I'm going to show you. Now there's lots of cutting to do on here. And so in my blog post, all the measurements will be there so that you don't have to bother writing them down now. So the next card I'm going to make is I decided to really make it colorful. And I am actually using from designer series paper from another suite in the catalog. This one is called the Flowers for Every Season suite. And I did buy the stamp set and the punch to create these beautiful jars of flowers. And then this is the paper that we're using. This is called Flowers for Every Season, and it's a 6x6 paper pack. And Stampin' Up! Designed this paper pack to go with all 5 of our brand new in colors. So that's what I'm going to use for this card. So I picked out 2 different pieces of DSP, this beautiful striped piece and this piece. I thought these would go really nicely together. And this is our brand new Magenta Madness and our Just Jade Green cardstock. So all these colors coordinate together. Now I did put some little stickies on here just to keep my measurements intact, and I could go through these with you quickly. So you start with a card base. This is actually 8 inches long by 4 1/4. So if you take your 8.5 by 11 and cut it down the middle on the short side, so you're cutting it at 4 1/4 and it's by 11, then you're just going to cut that length off to 8 inches. And we're actually going to score this at 5.5 inches. So I might as well bring this out and do it now. So I'm scoring this. Let me just check my notes to make sure. Yeah, it's at 5.5. So 5.5. Okay. And then I'm going to fold that on the mountain side. Let's put that away. And I'll just pull out my other bone folder here and give this a good crease. So this card base is our thick Whisper White. And this is basically what your card looks like here. Okay. And then on the inside of the card, I cut this piece of DSP. This is 4 by 5 1/4, which is your standard layer for both the front of the card and the inside of the card. So there's your 4 by 5 1/4. That's going to go inside. And then I cut a piece of the Just Jade. This is 4 by 2 1/4 inches. And I'm going to run this through the embossing folder. There's 2 narrow embossing folders that are part of the Forever Fern suite. And I embossed it with these tiny mini leaves. I hope you can see that in the camera. On the last card, see, this is what it looks like. Can you see that texture? They're just these tiny little leaves, and they're just gorgeous. And so I'm going to do the same thing with this piece here. And the other, excuse me, the other embossing folder is this one with, excuse me, leaves coming down and coming up. This would make a beautiful card front. Oh my goodness. I apologize for that. I've got something in my throat. Okay, so I'm going to emboss this Just Jade with this leaf folder. And then I have a couple of more. Oh my goodness gracious. I should get some water. I've got a couple of other pieces here. This is for the front of a card. This is this piece here. So this is the Magenta Madness. This is 4 1/4 by 3 1/4. And then the layer is a little bit smaller at 4 by 3 inches. So those two will be layered together. And they're going to go on the front like that. And then for the inside where you can actually write your greeting, you have another piece of Whisper White, which is 3 by 4 1/4. And that's going to go inside like that. Okay. So, and last but not least, you need another 2 pieces of cardstock. And these are squares. So you have a 2 1/4 inch square and a 2 1/2 inch square. Actually, this is the other way around, isn't it? This is 2 1/4 inch square, and this is 2 1/2 inch square. And you're going to basically cut these on your trimmer to make it diagonal. So you end up with a couple of extra pieces. Okay, so we'll start and put this card together. So once you've got all of these pieces cut, then it's pretty fast to put together. So the first thing I'll do is I'm going to just run over to my Big Shot, and I'm going to emboss this piece first of all. So here we have our embossed piece. Let me just put these little embossing folders away. Okay, so that's ready to go. So I can use my Tombow glue. I like to use Tombow glue whenever I have embossed a piece. I just find it easier than running my tape runner on it. So we'll just try and center that really well on here. I'll just hold that down for a few seconds. Okay, And then this piece of DSP I can put on the inside of the card. So I've got my silicone mat here, which I love to use when I'm using glues. And I'm using our brand new, what's called the Stampin' Seal. It's our brand new tape runner. So I've just started to use it. It is super strong. This tape runner might be a little more difficult to remove if you get your cardstock on crooked, but you know that now what's going on here. Let's just roll that a little bit. There we go. It's very, very sticky. So I would use 2 hands. I like to hover over my cardstock and look at all my edges to see that I'm getting it on there centered and straight. Okay, so there's that piece. So you kind of look at the green with these different colored stripes and you think, oh, kind of clashy, but it'll all get pulled together with this piece coming on top here. So now I'm going to layer this on top of this Magenta Madness. I am mad about Magenta Madness. It is a beautifully bright pink. So let's put this on here. And this particular piece of Designer Series paper is directional. The roses are all kind of going up one way. Now, when you go to put this on, you're basically looking at this whole card base and you're centering it on the card base. Okay, it's pretty centered. It's not over far to the right, as some folds are. It's pretty centered here. So what I'm going to do, we only need to put glue here on this side. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to lift it up like this, and I'm going to just pull it out a tiny bit. And then I'm going to take a pencil, bring my pencil in here, and I'm just going to do a little light line here. And that will tell me where to glue. So I'm going to use Tombow in this case, so I can slide it around a little bit. So you don't want to go past your pencil mark. And then you're going to basically recenter it on the card. Like this. Okay. So that part is done. Now, the inside is going to go underneath this. So you're going to, you know, try and eyeball it and center it underneath this flap. So before I do that, I think I want to stamp maybe something on here. My greeting's going to go on the front, but I might want to stamp, well, I think I pulled them out already. I was going to stamp, I'm going to use my Just Jade. This is our new green color. And I'm going to now I'm going to stamp this off because I think I want it to be what we call second generation stamp. So I'm going to just take some of that ink off of there and then ink it. Or not re-ink it, sorry, just take some of the ink off and then stamp is the word I'm looking for. So it's just a little more faint because I wanted to put another stamp on top of that. Now, a lot of demonstrators that I've seen use this stamp set, they've been calling this particular stamp berries. I don't think they're berries. I think they are a different type of a leaf. They remind me of a eucalyptus leaf, and so maybe our lovely Australian Stampin' Up! Demonstrators can let us know if that is indeed a eucalyptus. But some people are treating it as, you know, berries. And so with berries, then you could pull in another color, which is exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to bring in this Magenta Madness. So here are our 5 new in colors. The Just Jade, which is the one I just used. We've got this beautiful Cinnamon Cider. This is the Magenta Madness, which I'm going to use. Then we have a Bumblebee and a Misty Moonlight, which is a gorgeous blue. Just reminds me of my jeans, and I wear my jeans a lot. But I'm going to use this beautiful Magenta Madness color, and I'm going to use these leaves as, treat them as berries. So I'm just going to put those on right on top like that. Okay, look, it just pops the color. Okay, so I wanted to leave room for my message in here. So now I can put some, now be careful because I got ink on here. So you want to be careful when you're stamping on your silicone mat, make sure you take that ink off. Otherwise, when you turn this cardstock over, you're going to get ink on the other side. Okay, so now it's just a matter of, it should be right centered in the card. Luckily, there's stripes on here, so I should be able to position it. Woo! That was crooked. There we go. And does that get hidden? Yes, perfect. Okay, look how pretty that is. That is coming together really nicely. Okay, now for the little triangles. To tuck this underneath, I'm going to take these 2 pieces here. So these are 2 1/4 inch square and a 2 1/2 inch square. So what you're going to do with these is you're going to grab your trimmer, and what you want is to cut these on the diagonal. So you're going to position the points right in the track. Make sure they're both lined up, and you must hold this quite tightly. Now, don't bring your blade from the bottom, and don't bring it down from the top, because sometimes if the blade isn't quite sharp enough, or it's starting to not be as sharp as it was originally, you could end up crunching up those points. So I always like to put it kind of in the middle and go out, and then I can go back down like that and cut that on the diagonal. And I'll do the same for the pink piece. Make sure each point is exactly in the track. Hold it tight, and then go up and then down. Okay, that's all you have to do. And you're basically going to layer one color on top of another, like that. Now, on this card, I thought it looked nice to also emboss this triangle piece instead of having it plain like that. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to run over to my Big Shot. All right. So now I'm going to center this. So I'm going to use my Tombow so I get that little bit of wiggle room. There we go. So you end up with these 2 extra pieces. So you could go ahead and make another card. Maybe just change up your designer series paper or use this for something else. It looks like the top of a little house maybe. I don't know. Okay, now how we put this on is we're going to use glue dots. Now I want to maintain my white base border around it. So I'm going to make sure that I get this right matched up to the designer series paper. And so what you want to do is you're going to put some glue dots on these 2 outside edges. So let me pull these forward and let me get out my take a pick tool. And I'm just going to pull. So try and get them as close to the outside edge as possible. One more. Okay. And now I'm going to take this off. Now I don't have glue dots along here. And you want to just make sure that you position that along the DSP piece. And there you go. And then this tucks underneath. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? Okay, so now I have my greeting. Love is what makes us family. So I'm going to take some, I'm pausing here because I'm thinking I might want to sponge this piece a little bit. And if I sponge it, what color do I want to sponge it? A little bit of the green again, maybe. I don't know. I'm undecided right now. Let me pull out my green. Yeah, maybe the green. So I don't yet have a sponge dedicated to my new in colors yet. I buy our little sponge doppers. So I'm going to use a spare one I have here. So you can purchase these from the catalog. I think you get 5 to a pack. And then you just sort of flick it on the edge of the paper just to give it a tiny bit of dimension. I like this look a lot. It saves you doing a lot of layering maybe for your greetings, although with that new punch now, I haven't played with it enough yet. And this actual strip is 1 inch, so I've used the widest one. So I can't really layer this as much. I think that looks a lot better with a little bit of green. Oh yes, that just brings it right out. Okay, and I'm going to put this on dimensionals. And I think I will add, we have these new little enamel dots in all of the in colors. I'll have to go and grab those. They're on my other desk. Okay, so I'm going to put this, I think I'll center it on here. like that. Yeah, let me just go grab those enamel dots. I love rhinestones, but I also love enamel dots. Now I like to use scissors for this. And again, decision time. I think I'm going to go with the pink. And I just want to put one here, like that. And I'm going to put one here on the end. Like that. There you go. So you see, I said that once you have all your pieces cut, it's a pretty quick card to go together. What do you think? You might have to send some instructions to the recipients so they know how to open it, but they might be able to figure it out. The more you open and close it, I think it gets a little bit easier. And they might see that it, you know, when you open and close it quite a bit, it starts to bow a little bit, and they hopefully can figure it out from there. So that is a pretty wild looking card, a very pretty card, I think. I quite like it. Let me show you the other one. And there is your tuck fold card. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Go and make one. And if you'd like to shop with me, the host code will be down in the description, and a link to the blog post with all of the cutting and scoring measurements will be over there as well. So thank you so much for joining me. If you've enjoyed this tutorial and you'd like to see more, then you can subscribe to my YouTube channel. And if you hit that alarm bell, it will notify you every time I post a new video. So happy stamping, everyone. Bye for now.